NiKo is Counter-Strike's most unbelievable, heartbreaking anomaly. He's the deagle god, works harder than anyone on the server, and delivers it with a fraction of the resources.
3 more CTs left, then it's a NiKo. Key men here because they've got big armor, and NiKo's putting in more damage. Well, what is that? No! 4 kills! How did he can't do this? There's only one more person to find. Down to the 1 versus 1. Is he really gonna ace? NiKo, there is a reason he's called the best player in the world.
They get traded back quickly by Tabs, and next comes in with a kill. NiKo round towards Fortis, gets 3 and the 4.
Kerrigan dies in the last rounds. So too to see in this one. Oh, the auto sniper that gives the Liquid their best chance, except that NiKo's still in the back of the sight. And he's got accuracy, he's got, oh my god!
Player peeks into the connector and a nice bait on the site from Order, but NiKo, 2 shots and 2 kills. Oh, NiKo!
4 big clan imminent. Unless NiKo's dig hits forward, and he's got 2. Oh, let's go! NiKo! That is abhorrent! 4 with the deagle, make it 5 and ace from NiKo!
Even though NiKo is one of the best players of all time, his legacy is still in question. Because when it matters most, NiKo just can't win.
As Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened!
Times it to perfection. And Simple sitting. No! Did not shot!
That's gonna be
it's only NiKo, there's no time! He just has to watch that clock tick down! This is it! Na'Vi! I've taken the major!
The first CS2 Major in Copenhagen was NiKo's best shot at starting fresh. And yet with redemption at hand, everything slipped out of NiKo's reach once more.
One more kill! Wonderful gets it! Sometimes your opponent's just having a really good day.
All right, so before we get into today's video, just a friendly reminder that theScore Esports' Face It clan is still open to new members. Play with yours truly, collect points you can spend in the shop on some new skins, and just enjoy the good vibes. It's fun, it's free, and you don't have to worry about the frickin' cheaters for once. All right, so in CSGO, you'd be hard-pressed to think of many names more illustrious than NiKo.
I mean, he's the best rifler of all time. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Incredible aim, clutch plays, and versatility across multiple roles. NiKo could do it all.
Mouse's buy is going to be torn away from them very, very quickly by Titan.
Oh my god, NiKo gets 3, 4! Oh my lungs, I don't believe it! Shocks then has just to find one more. The molly isn't going to touch him. And what on earth has just happened? As deagle is on fire, and Shocks is going to walk into it as well. NiKo is on fire.
That the flash would collide with a player should they be there. There is a player there though, which maybe will catch him off guard. The CT's unable to trade this frag. Switching out from AK-47, he's got 20 seconds. I think he thinks Sandwich is clear. Doesn't quite get the kill, but NiKo is just too good. This is ridiculous, a 4K from him.
They're so gathered in that main position.
This is NiKo's field day.
Yeah, he could not believe the frags that are being fed to him now as 2 come through, 1 through the smoke. And even more, oh, he lines him up, knocks him down. Astralis just skittles in NiKo's alley.
But NiKo's career has been marked by tragedy. Loss after loss held him back from the legendary status he undoubtedly deserved. And to understand why those losses are so tragic, you first need to understand something. NiKo is insane. NiKo didn't get to where he is by taking the same road as nearly every other CS superstar. NiKo isn't an opper. No, he took a much more humble path to the top.
Going to look to wrap in towards the A site very quick with the utility pouring on through. It's a full set execution coming in. And Legia will start to enter alongside his teammates, but Carrigan's there being the linchpin, does take the first man, they get traded back quickly by Tabs, so next comes in with a kill. NiKo round towards Fortis, gets 3 and the 4th. Perfectly placed from NiKo.
He's a rifler, a far less glamorous role with not nearly as many resources thrown at it by the rest of the team, and fewer opportunities for bombastic pop-offs. And yet, his stats are on par with, and often better than even his most accomplished op-wielding contemporaries. Moreover, NiKo excels in situations where he's truly strapped for resources. Rounds like ecos and pistols, where other players of his caliber might falter without their full buy. In fact, NiKo is known as the deagle god, a title that no other player has ever been able to touch.
Needs to offer some resistance here. Yakindar gone. NiKo. Oh, man!
everybody has NiKo stickers on their freaking deagle because they remember the old days with the mouse and so on.
3 more CTs left, then it's a NiKo. Key men here because they've got big armor, and NiKo's putting in more damage. Well, what is that? No! 4 kills! You can't do this! There's only one more person to find, down to the 1 versus 1. Is he really gonna ace? NiKo, there is a reason he's called the best player in the world, and I think we're witnessing it. Absolutely ridiculous. That's disgusting. That's vile.
And while it might look like NiKo is outclassed by players like ZywOo or Simple, you just can't underestimate the impact that being an AWPer or even a hybrid rifler has on a player's numbers. Not that the AWP requires no skill or anything, but it is easier to get kills with, which is why you typically put your best player on it. The gun is built for deleting people, meaning that there are often times when opponents are just fish in a barrel for a talented and accurate AWPer. So the fact that NiKo took the #2 spot in HLTV's top 20 in 2023 without using the game's most impactful weapon or winning a major is sheer insanity. If you break those stats down further, NiKo was doing the most damage per round out of everyone playing, AWPers included. And because he's so good at rifling and deagling, NiKo is always a threat, whether or not the team has money to spend, which can make a huge difference to those crucial rounds. Up until very recently, NiKo actually held the record for the best individual performance at a CS event, with a rating no one managed to top during CSGO's lifespan. An absolutely incredible feat for someone playing in NiKo's position.
Kerrigan dies in the last rounds. Sotula in this one. Oh, the auto sniper that gives the Liquid their best chance, except that NiKo's still in the back of the sight. And he's got accuracy. He's got. Oh my God.
Get off the server.
He does not even need full ammunition. Give him half. Give him 15 bullets.
But even as NiKo stood in contention for the title of the GOAT of CSGO, one glaring omission made it impossible for him to actually claim it: a major trophy.
I think for the greats, a major is a must to be in the trophy cabinet. So even though NiKo will always go down as one of like the most mechanically gifted or most talented players, it's the trophy cabinet at the end of the day is going to stand the test of time.
Team after team, lineup after lineup, NiKo has tried and failed to nab the big one.
We saw it from this position before. He cannot miss a single shot. Guardian waits patiently as Cloud9 sets the push up. Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
No chance here. Rain and Guardian left 2-on-4, and you're absolutely right, Moses. There's nothing left to fight for. Guardian with the MAC-10. He chases down one, but it's 16-12, and Astralis make another semi-finals here at the Major.
5-on-3 now, it's up to Guardian. I think we might be done here. They've got to tap out. There's nothing left as one player remains. And there it is, it's 2-0. Na'Vi booked himself a place in the semi-final in convincing fashion as well. What a great performance of them. And FaZe, an underwhelming one, as they will crash out in the quarterfinals. They expected so much more here, Matt.
Many people thought that after Boston, Stockholm was NiKo's best chance at winning a major. Unfortunately, we all remember how that went.
And it's Simple and Bit times it to perfection. And Simple sitting. No! Disaster! An absolute disaster!
That was it!
That was the game! Chat, that was it! Mirage was one click away!
10 seconds, neither plan. That's
oh
the
no!
bomb. That's
It's falling apart!
That's gonna be
it! It's only NiKo, there's no time! He just has to watch that clock tick down! This is it! Na'Vi have taken the major!
Yeah, Simple have just won the major and I am still on 0. I'm confident that at some point in my career I will be able to lift a major trophy, and congrats to him. He deserved it even more than I did, I think. So, and he played out of his mind today, and he definitely deserved it more than I did. And I'm just focusing onto the next one.
After their devastating loss there, both Antwerp and CSGO's very last major in Paris were write-offs for G2, who went through a lengthy rebuilding process to try and regain some of their momentum. And the arrival of Counter-Strike 2 gave NiKo and G2 the fresh start they needed. NiKo would never get the highest honor in Go, but he could still try to get one in the new game.
Obviously failed to win a major in CSGO, not deserved to win one, and Yeah, as I said earlier in the interview, next chapter starts in CS2, and the grind has to continue, and hopefully I will lift one in CS2.
A new game, a clean slate, and a denied superstar, ready to define his eternal legacy. Everything was on the line for NiKo at CS2's first major. CS2 was a divisive game straight off the bat. Some people saw promise in it, others not so much. Hell, Simple himself basically quit pro Counter-Strike for a time because of how many issues the game had.
Have you talked with Valve about CS2, man? They write me in Twitter and they ask me, what the issues? You know what I did? I never answer them back. How can you ask me what's the issue if the whole internet, whole Twitter writing about issues? You don't see the issue or what? You don't see it?
Because the thing with CSGO is that it was at its peak when they took it away from us. And unlike Counter-Strikes in the past where you could continue to play both versions, CSGO was wiped off the table. You had to jump into CS2, and there is a real argument versus Valve as to the state of the game when they released it.
NiKo was one of the voices speaking out against CS2 and the state it was in on release.
I also remember a NiKo tweet just a couple of days, right? Like he wrote CS2 is shit, and then all of a sudden Kisarazu 2 days before that wrote that it was the best game that has ever been released since 1.6, right?
Now, it's sort of unreasonable to expect that if you really don't like something, you're gonna be really good at it. But this is NiKo we're talking about. A player who carved out his spot at the very top of Counter-Strike without the help of the game's star-making gun. A contender who was knocked down countless times only to come back stronger. If anyone could conquer the demons of his past and overcome the challenges of a new game, surely it was NiKo.
I would love for him to have a big event in the arena because CS needs NiKo and NiKo needs CS, right? So having a good runoff in the major would be a nice look for G2.
And yet, the Copenhagen Major saw a rather shaky G2 contend with teams new and old who had just as much to prove on Counter-Strike's biggest stage.
If G2 did it, I would be very surprised if G2 did it. It's not been the most convincing Counter-Strike coming out of them over the elimination stage.
G2 struggled through an underwhelming group stage, taking losses to C9 and Na'Vi, which didn't bode well for their future results. G2 silenced some of their doubters by swiftly and brutally dominating MOUZ in the quarterfinals. Then again, there were those who claimed that G2 might have lost that matchup had there not been a disruption in the arena midway through Game 2.
There was a small disruption, but the security staff and PGL have done their job. And all I want to do right now is focus on the Counter-Strike!
To play to the finals like his brother before him. And with that SMG, 4 kills to his name, he is cut down.
Wow.
And just like that, they've managed. Divine intervention ushers them into the playoffs, and the soldiers of God march on.
Still, riding high on the victory, G2 looked strong going into their semi-finals face-off against Na'Vi. And yet Map 1 narrowly slipped through their fingers in OT.
The stage built for him, under the lights, in front of 16,000 fans. Wonderful, doing G2 dirty. With 15 seconds to play with, he walks into the site, he finds the triple kill, and he sends G2 down.
But G2 rallied, bouncing back with a far more decisive response on Nuke.
He's got an angle around that, and set for success. m0NESY collects onto JL, they're starting to run him down, he chooses to re-peek, he's fighting! Oh, m0NESY stands his ground gloriously. In a 2v5 situation, will Wonderful find anything more? He's alone now, 1v5, and one bullet will do it! G2 should just be able to put this one in. It's only Wonderful, and there it is! A third map required!
Now, everything was on the line on Ancient. NiKo's chance to leave his mark on the new game, to secure his legacy, his trophy, but it wasn't meant to be.
It's gonna be JL a bit! m0NESY, what have you got? Misses his first, getting overrun! It looks like G2's time here in Copenhagen is over as JL racks up another! 28 frags and counting. Hunter caught out. It's all on Nexa. Na'Vi pulled into the grand finals. One more kill. Wonderful gets it. Sometimes your opponent's just having a really good day.
Na'Vi edged it out in map 3, leaving G2 in shambles as the underdogs pushed through to eventually win the whole tournament.
And they know it now. They all know it now. The best moment of the rest of their lives is about to come through. And there's the killing blow.
It wasn't that NiKo's stats weren't there exactly. He might not have been the top performing player on G2, but he was second only to m0NESY, who was literally the best player at the entire event. The first CS2 Major was brimming with fresh new talent, like m0NESY, but some of the CS old-timers still stepped up and found new ways to make a huge impact on the tournament. Which brings us to the elephant in the room. Why is it that NiKo is never the bride, always the bridesmaid? How is it possible that the universally acknowledged best rifler in the game, the player with stats that should have netted him multiple majors, is still waiting to lift the big one? Stats may not tell the whole story. People have attributed things outside of the server to NiKo's lack of a major trophy, like his famously volatile temper.
Shut up! Then say that you're smoked up. Shut up!
Shut up.
Oh yeah. Is that
esports? This is some old school. I mean,
is that NiKo shouting at?
Yeah, this is how it can get on well, both of these teams actually.
Yeah,
have a history of, like, you know, getting a bit heated in the game.
Even though NiKo's performances earned him a reputation as a game-changing talent, there are some that think his reputation off the server has been holding him back. And while he was known to have a strong personality ever since he first got into the big leagues, things really came to a head when he took over IGLing FaZe Clan in 2018 after Kerrigan left the team. Shortly before Kerrigan's departure, when NiKo took over the IGL role on what was supposed to be a temporary basis, he told HLTV, "I took it over just to come up with something fresh in the team, to build some confidence in the team, which we were lacking at the start, so people start believing in something." But was NiKo the voice of the team, or was he speaking for himself? Did he take over a role he admittedly disliked because he was sure that his way was just better? How far did NiKo's influence on his teams actually extend? The rumor mill got so out of control that towards the end of NiKo's time with FaZe, he took to Twitter to finally address the persistent sentiment that he had gotten Kerrigan kicked. Of course, it didn't help that another former teammate, Kiyoshima, jumped into the thread alleging that NiKo kicked him out of FaZe as well. Whatever the case may have been, NiKo moved on to supposedly bigger and better things just a short month later when he joined his cousin Hunter on G2. And a few years later, in Stockholm, NiKo lost the major in part thanks to the most devastating whiff in CS history.
It feels wrong in so many ways. It feels wrong for G2 in that moment because it felt like they really deserved that map. It feels wrong for NiKo because when does NiKo's aim fail him like that? And it almost kind of looked like it doesn't in the clip.
G2 began to shuffle, but the secret team manager narrative that has followed NiKo around for years was weaving itself into G2's every roster move. Following the departure of IGL Nexa, G2 brought in Alexi B as their new in-game leader, m0NESY as a replacement for Amanek, and Xtaz as head coach. But after failing to produce any meaningful results with the team, Alexi was benched, and NiKo was, once again, at the center of the discussion around that decision.
Well, I guess we'll be needing a new IGL then.
Xtaz didn't stick around much longer, alleging he left G2 because he felt useless, prompting yet another conversation around who was actually in charge of the team. And then the team's lucky charm, JKS, was benched in favor of Nexa, a friend of NiKo's. Whether it was true or not, yet again, the general perception was that NiKo was the one behind the unpopular roster change.
They removed probably one of the world's most impactful support players in JKS, and plugged in Nexa, who was a familiar presence, you know, for those the teammates in G2. I don't know what to think of right now.
I think that Nexa as a replacement didn't quite make sense unless you were to give him in-game leadership roles. So now with Nexa and Hooksy, there's like a, I feel like you can have one, but not the two.
So is all of this actually the reason that NiKo doesn't have a major trophy? Is it his supposed iron fist rule within his rosters? Believe what you will, but NiKo has publicly denied these claims on multiple occasions.
It's never me deciding who is out, who is in, who is leading, who is not. It's never been like that, so I just have as enough responsibility or as much responsibility as any other player on the team.
Maybe the reason for NiKo's unwritten legacy is his perceived arrogance.
It is ancient, so of course
I died to Kerrigan, he says.
The man has poked fun at himself plenty of times, so at the very least, he possesses a healthy dose of self-awareness.
Hey guys, my name is Matt. I'm here to apply for the role of mental coach.
What the f***? Mental coach? Jerome, I told you no mental coach, okay? Do I look like I need a mental coach? Next!
Is it a matter of failing to adapt to CS2?
How? Dude! I'm shooting at the head! What the f***?
That wouldn't explain why NiKo went totally beast mode towards the end of CSGO's lifespan and still didn't win a major. Is it that NiKo's signature weapons fell off in the CS2 meta? It's actually quite the opposite. So then where is NiKo's major? It really seems that NiKo is just the most heartbreaking statistical anomaly in all of Counter-Strike. The stars just literally never align for him. But despite his unfortunate distinction of being the best to never win a major yet, or maybe because of it, the community continues to root for NiKo.
There's a lot of players, every generation, there's a lot of players that you'd expect to have a trophy and they don't. Something about majors, everyone can be anyone. When you get to this level of competition, it's about just follow through and consistency.
For me, I'd hate the idea that if NiKo didn't ever get a major, that he was not seen as one of the best ever because he didn't get one.
No one knows if NiKo will ever actually get his major, but to a certain extent, it doesn't matter. He represents an eternal ideal, a strive for greatness no matter the odds. NiKo has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is capable of beating top-tier teams. G2's triumph at IEM Dallas is a testament to his greatness.
In the smoke, Hunter, he's touching the opponent, but G2, they're rolling right through. And a wondrous week ends with G2 as champions. Stewie is back home, and G2, for the first time this year, can call themselves champions at the Intel Extreme Masters.
I'm really happy right now. This has been one of the most intense games we have played this season. Overtimes on first two maps, coming back on T-side, a lot of pressure, and but yeah, everything in the end doesn't matter what happened. We have won, we have lifted the trophy, and here we are.
He works hard, he plays his heart out, and even when he doesn't win, we love him anyway. NiKo will continue to aim for the top. If he never makes it, it will be the greatest injustice in CS history. But his endless, determined climb is what will make him an everlasting legend.
4 big clan imminent, unless NiKo's dig hits more than that. He's got 2. Oh, let's go! Oh, NiKo! That is abhorrent! 4 with the deagle, make it 5, and ace from NiKo! That is insult to injury. G2 9 at the half.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring the notification bell. For unique, bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.